What is up, grinders? Welcome to a UFC Crunch Time Before Lock. I am your host, Mike Brown, aka H3 Buddha, here with Blender HD, Jordan Cooper. We have the Ultimate Fighter. They don't even call it the Ultimate Fighter anymore. It's Cannonier versus Borralho, UFC at the Apex, whatever number it is now. But hey, we have three unknowns, I'd say. A lot of fighters on this slate. And that's going to be very interesting where the ownership ends up on these fights. But what do you think of the Ultimate Fighter? I mean, I don't even watch it anymore, Blender. I'm a diehard. It's been dead for a while, let's be honest. Like, the heyday of, like, you know, the guys getting absolutely drunk and fighting each other in the house, that's dead. They're professionals now. They're going for it. They're trying to move up the food chain. Weird slate overall, though. 12 fights. A 15-1 woman's favorite.
Well, I mean, hasn't Dana White's Contender Series kind of replaced what the Ultimate Fighter was supposed to be or something?
Pretty like much, that. But these guys are like, you have to cut weight multiple times in the house. Why would you not want to go the Contender Series? The Contender Series, you cut weight once, you pretty much lay it all on the line. If you don't get it and you look okay, you get another opportunity.
Well, the only thing about these Ultimate Fighter fighters is that we don't have that many data points on them. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe these fights are a little bit more high variant, but it also is a garbage slate. So, I mean, it's an Apex card, a bunch of people that are either like fighting for their jobs or they're just looking to showcase. So, I mean, it's kind of like basically cookie cup matchups and stuff. But at least they got more fights in the card because as of early in the week, it was like 9 fights. And I'm like, I don't want to play a slate with 9 fights on it. But now that we got 12, it's a real slate again.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's no real true values, especially with a lot of late notice type stuff happening. I guess the only value, I guess, is Bazooka. And he was scheduled on this card anyways, priced at $7,700. In his late notice replacement ends up being the favorite. And DraftKings prices them pretty accurate at $8,300. There's really nothing too glaring as like a starting point. Even the main event is like, there's 2, maybe 3 ways. Maybe a decision doesn't look good. But Borralho is not a guy that does what's my favorite thing in fantasy?
The pitter patter. The
pitter patter. Yeah, we want that. Play the bongos. Nope. Borralho says, none of that for you. Control. I'm going to control. Nope. Not good for fantasy. But you have Cannonier, who's always going to have the knockout power. And it does look like a binary matchup, but I feel like people might get sucked into the main event here, Jordan, with like a 3rd, 4th round finish might not look good for either guy.
Well, the key to this slate is the pricing. The pricing you have 2 fighters that are 9,500 and above that are, extreme favorites. We have a whole bunch of over 2-1, 3-1 favorites on this card, which means it's a slate where who under Cannonier or lower, there may not be a winner. There simply just may not be a winner, and it just the highest scoring underdog, even if they lose, may be in the optimal lineup. So, Cannonier below, I'm looking for a win, and that's why I think Bazooka is going to be like the popular choice. Maybe Lon Top to some extent. But I think there's tons of fighters in the mid range. I think the scoring on the slate will be very high. I think the winning score will be close to 700 on this slate, because we got inside the distance lines that are nuts, and under 1.5 rounds that are nuts. I'm prioritizing finishers and finishes than win equity on the slate, and you don't have to pay up. You don't really have to pay up for the. We have some fights in the mid range that could easily end in the 1st round. So, like, I'm not prioritizing like the high end, the really high priced fighters.
You're sacrificing
I'm also not really taking much of a shot on the really garbage underdogs.
You're sacrificing a hell of a lot when you even take 1. If not, you're taking 2. You're really handicapping your builds above the 9K. And
Well,
I mean,
Mike, what I'm doing is like I'm playing 10 lineups today.
mhm,
I literally just made a choice. So
yep,
I'm playing one of the top 2 favorites, and I'm only playing one of the under, like the 9K, right, low 9K, and
yep.
I'm living and dying by those combinations. And if that combination comes through, I have a bunch of 10 different versions of it. Because you really can't do anything else. I mean, if this is going to be a slate where Neil Magny wins and Vittorio Leonardo win, I mean, I move
Those
on.
words don't go together.
Right.
Leonardo winning in the UFC does not
Right. But
happen.
I'm much more likely to prioritize the main event only because of price. 8,600, 7,600. I don't think Cannonier scores well in a 5-round fight. I
No,
think if it goes to the scorecards, he probably loses. And plus, Borralho, will typically have enough control time that even if Cannonier gets like a third or fourth round stoppage,
that's
he
what I
may not even
said.
score
Yeah,
that well anyway. And he's 70s, like yes, I care about win equity, but as the price goes down, but I mean, I think there are plenty between 8,500 and 7,700. I think there could be 4 people that score over 100 points. I mean, that have
that's
potential
the
to score over 100 points. So to me, the main event is not like a must-have on now that we have 12 fights at least.
that's the range, right? Isn't it the middle range, the ultimate fighters that are trying to get in here? And I was really somewhat hoping that they would all be like 25% owned. It looks like the favorites are hovering about 30 to 35% ownership each. It's going to be a true test because there's just, like you said, no data points for these guys. When you start digging into those three ultimate fighter type fights, I mean, there's 2 championships and then there's one that they threw together because they thought it would be fun. Um, my personal ranking of like all of them is Valentine's in his own category himself. This is a wild man. This is a guy that goes in, Jordan, that just holds him. Whatever he can do, he closes distance, throws volume striking. What he did on the contenders, on the Ultimate Fighter, is he got him in like a side lock, threw him down in a headlock, right? Grabbed his arm with his leg and like straight arm barred him from guard, like he while teeing off on his head. This is a guy that's going to be embracing the variant. This is a fight you should definitely have a piece of. Loader might be looking at one of the better leverage spots if he's killing off a Valentine. But here's the problem. Like I said, they're all like 30, they're all the same ownership, right? Aren't they all the same play? Fletcher, Santos, Valentine. And then I think if you're going to look at any of the fights that will bust, I'm actually surprised that Fletcher and Ramaska is 30 percent owned for Fletcher and Ramaska 26, because I feel like they're the more opt to be the snipers from range, and they end up just like kickboxing for 3 rounds and nothing
Yeah,
happens.
but those inside the distance lines, I mean, that's the fight that's like most likely outside of
But
the
then
really big favorites. That's the fight that's most likely to not go the distance.
I know, and that's the thing that's wild. And it's not like either of those guys, do they even get a contract? They're not they're not fighting for the contract. That's the wild thing about the UFC now. They're on a UFC card. They don't have a contract. I want to see them both go for it. Like I said, it's a weight class 145 that should have constant action, but if they end up just kickboxing, there might not be a lot to love. And then that other one, I mean, Ophioli sounds like this was something from Liam, which is crazy. Ophioli, awfully, whatever we want to call him, he's like a little bulldog. Like a little, think of Volkanovski when he came in. Remember how he just like rugby tackle somebody and then just murder? He's that type of style, which lends to scoring for Santos. I would say that would be my second target. I like Valentine a lot, but the winner of Santos and Ophioli should score pretty damn well.
Well, my tiebreaker. But obviously, I look at our projections
I
here
know
at RotoGrinders.
ownership, but they're all
I
the
look at
same play.
ownership. Okay, I don't agree with some of the ownership that we currently have up.
Mhm.
Personally, I don't agree. Said there are some things that I think are actually quite off. But okay, the concept that from a heuristic standpoint that I do agree in MMA in general, especially on crap cards, right? We're not talking about pay-per-view cards where like half the fighters have at least 7-10 fights in the UFC. These are fighters that we're getting debuts, we're getting people that shouldn't be in there anymore, setup fights. I mean, who knows what the hell? You're much more likely to see people get destroyed. Like, for instance, like we talk about Wang Kong at minus 1200 against Victoria Leonardo. Be like, well, she's a striker and she really doesn't finish people. It's like, dude, she could look like a minus $7,500 fit. I mean, like, she could finish Leonardo with 170 strikes in the second round and score 140 points because this could be absurdly lopsided. And I think the same could be said about all these Ultimate Fighter fights that we'll look at and go, wow, I can't believe this guy was even the favorite because the other guy looked like a minus 700 favorite in the process. Because these guys really don't have enough experience to really to even do the lines do they even make any sense? So I'm weighing for the Ultimate Fighter fights, I'm treating like women's MMA. Okay.
Yep.
And you know how I treat women's MMA in general when in doubt? What?
You usually want an investment on the lower owned.
Now, well, typically I want an investment in whoever is physically more dominant, because if people don't have that much experience, like in women's MMA, you tell me you'll tell me the woman didn't weigh in, is 5 pounds over the limit and like should be in the upper weight class, while the other one looked like, oh, they were previously an atom weight. It's like I'll take the atom weight could be the best wrestler in the world, but if they come in 25 pounds too underweight, you're probably not taking down the other girl. So like I'm viewing that type of thing. So I look at like Santos Ofley. I think Santos is going to look a weight class above Ofley when they come out. You're going to be like, what? Yeah, Ofley could wrestle, but can he take Myron Santos down? Maybe not. Santos' path to victory is probably a knockout, so you're probably going to need it in the first 5 minutes. But I think the same could be said with like Fletcher and Ramoska. I think Ramoska is going to look way bigger than Fletcher, and I'd rather take a shot on Ramoska, just physically being just bigger and better than that. And I think Valentin is the same thing against Loader. I think Loader, I mean, he's probably a 135er, not even a 145er. And I mean, yeah, great. He comes from the wrestling, D1 wrestling, whatever, but it's not going to matter. It's not like Robert Valentin can't grapple. If he was facing someone that had no mat game whatsoever, I'd be fine. But I think Valentin is just physical. I'm just going by the tough fighters. I'm just going by just who's bigger, who's more physical, who's stronger, and I'm relying on that much more so than like who could technically be better.
I wouldn't be surprised if 3 of them hit optimal, if not just like 2. I think I definitely, absolutely could get there. And, there's it's a tricky card when you say the win equity, right? We want win equity. There's no better fight on this DM slate. And of course, it has to be Angela Hill. Why do we need Angela Hill and Tabitha Ricci on this card? Because they're priced right for a win. They're priced right that they can easily get to 10x. But at the end of the day, like Angie's been fighting lower tier and scoring very damn well. And then you get Ricci, who somewhat slows the pace of the fight down. What's going to give here? And you know what the sad part is? Ricci's now the value side. So the people want to play Ricci because of that.
Ricci has the theoretical upside in wrestling. The problem is that, like, while she was able to wrestle the lower end of the division, as she's moved up, she's like one for a lot. I think she's had 1 takedown in 2 or 3 fights or whatever. So theoretically, I see Ricci at 8. I mean, I would prefer Ricci at 8,000 versus Angela Hill at 8,200, but I'm not necessarily sure what the ceiling of this fight is. I do have Ricci in some of my lineups only because the pricing just works out there. But like, I think Ricci is going to end up being over-owned. I think Ricci is going to end up being like 32% owned on this slate. and I think that's overrun. She probably should only be like 20-ish or so. I mean, Angela Hill is historically, I mean, she's okay. She's not the
Good
greatest
point.
DFS fighter. She's not bad, and as long
Good
as
point
this
per
fight,
dollar.
right? But as long as this fight stays mostly on its feet, I'm not sure how either of these women get there compared to the winners of the Santos Fletcher and Valentine fight, like with the Slava Claus fight. I think there's going to be on this card. There's 12 fights. I think there's going to be 7 finishes or more, 8 finishes maybe. And I'm not sure an 8K fighter, the 72-point decision win is going to cut it at the mid range. If you're
Especially
playing a
with
really
what we
low
just
price
talked about.
fighter with a high price fighter, you need someone in this range. I guess so, but I would rather play Ramoska at 7,800 than Tabula Ricci at 8,000 just straight up.
It is one of those cash type plays with Ricci. People will go there first click because there's value. Again, I don't think it has the best ceiling like you're saying as well. Also, you talked about Wayne Kong, isn't that at 9,600? Victorio Leonardo, I said this last week. This is how I am attacking pick 6, okay? Is expected for 20.5 points on pick 6. I don't, how are they coming up with these? Like, are they basing it over 3 rounds? Like, that's a wild projection for pick 6 at 20.5. But you know what we do have? We do have DK pick 6 Firefox extensions. In case you missed it, RG premium subscribers can now use the RG DK Pick 6 browser extension on Firefox to have our premium props and pick'em projections overlaid on the screen so you can quickly and easily find the lines with the best value and make expert picks all in one place. Download it now for Firefox today. I mean, you don't look into the pick 6, but it's like some of these fighters, even the Ultimate Fighter guys have projections. Ofili being 50, Ramoska 52.5, Loader 54.5. So like they're saying, right, they have win equity. That's basically what they're saying.
I don't think they do.
I don't either, but that's what the pick 6 app's saying.
I am taking a shot on one of the lower priced underdogs.
Can I take a guess at who it is?
Sure.
I mean, it's one of 2 people. Is it the guy that lost on the Contender Series? And Dana liked him? Oh,
no. I'm talking about I'm playing one guy under, I'm not out of the bottom 2, but out of the bottom 4.
Oh God. Well, you did mention Magny into lineups, so it's got to be GM3.
Yeah, I mean that to me that's easy. I am in my 10 lineups. I am playing Zach Reese, right? Because I mentioned like I'm playing Wang Kong, but not Michael Morales, and I'm playing Zach Reese and not Edmund Shabazian. I think the Michael Morales Magny fight. I think Morales like 30-27 clean win, but it probably goes to decision. Right, maybe a 3rd round finish. I'm not necessarily sure. Michael Morales.
He could grapple. Morales could grapple and try to go for takedowns, but I think he's just gonna.
I don't think there's a need to, and I think Magny is good enough with submission defense that it's not going to get finished that way.
But on another slate, we'd be talking about Edmund Shabazian fights because this guy, I mean, was the A++ prospect they love. He's got the striking. He had grappling, but what's the hole? He gets taken down and controlled for long periods of time. You don't want GM3 on your back, but he is so slow. You know how slow Mearshard is? It's like a sloth in there.
I don't care. Give me a path to victory.
I don't care.
Reese against Medina. It's hard. Reese, I don't trust Zach Reese, but I don't think Jose Medina has the tools to beat Reese, even if Reese gasses out, right? Reese could still win a 29-28 decision. If he hasn't seen more than 7 minutes in a fight, that's the problem with Reese. But, I mean, he's minus 375 inside the distance, almost 50% in the first round. I think it's much more likely that Reese finishes Medina. The thing about Edmund Shabazian is that Edmund Shabazian, after he fights 1 round, just may not even. I mean, it just falls off a cliff. And Mearshart, no matter how slow he is, and no matter striking defense is limited, he has clear paths to victory. If he can get the fight to the ground, he has the advantage. Even though Edmund Shabazian isn't like awful on the mat, but Mearshart's chance to win this fight is by submission, and it's quite possible that if he survives the first round, Shabazian may just be done. 7.5 minutes into this fight, Shabazian may just be.
Well, you'd rather have Reese on the second round for maybe he scores.
Right. Well, I'd rather have Reese because I think if Reese gasses, I'm not sure if Medina could finish Reese even if Reese is tired. Right. Mearshart, obviously, Mearshart's whole thing is that he's good on the mat, but he's not great at taking you down. He's slow. He's not very good on the feet. I mean, he punches. He's a good striker, just not good defensively. So you slow Shabazian down, Mearshart's fine, right? All you have to do is slow him down and make it so that he can't defend takedowns, and I think he's fine. Now, obviously, the probable thing that happens is that both Reese and Shabazian get first-round knockouts. Okay, that's the most probable thing. That's why one's going to be like 50% owned, one's going to be like 45% owned. But I'm not going to play Reese and Shabazian together. I'm not going to play a Reese, Shabazian, Borralho, Bazooka lineup. I'm not playing that. Good luck sharing first place with 278 of your best friends, right? So I'm just making a choice. I'm playing 10 lineups. I'm saying, who do I want more over Mearshart and Medina? I'm like, I think Mearshart has a better chance. And also, when Mearshart wins it with the sub, typically he's scoring 100 points. If he does it in the first round, catches you in the first round.
Have you seen this guy's evolve? His body, he was huge, big boy. Now Dana said, hey, come over to the PI. We'll get you in shape off that loss on the Contender Series. He looks in shape, Medina, but it's like, I even think Medina's path of scoring like a third round finish is, should be okay on this slate. But there's no faith he survives. I mean, we don't he was controlled by the Russian guy. This is a whole different story with Reese. You do make me want to segue over to the SimLabs. Where did some of these upper echelon guys, where did the main event hit for optimal rates on SimLabs?
The optimal rates are quite
surprising.
The optimal rates are quite even to each other. Okay, so that nothing stands out. The highest chance of being optimal on this slate is Caio Borralho.
It has to be because of price.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So this is all dependent on price. So Shabazian comes like out of all these people in the 9K range.
Mm-hmm.
Shabazian is 1, Reese is 2, then it goes way down to Wang Kong, and Michael Morales is the 4th lowest on the entire slate. Right? The only people that are lower chance of being optimal is Medina, Magny, and Leonardo.
You know what's wild? We haven't even talked about Slava Claus and Lontop. Does Slava? So you don't want to talk about it.
Don't tell him, Mike.
I can't talk about that, right? Because it's our hidden secret.
But Slava Claus has a higher chance of being optimal than Zach Reese. And higher than Santos and Fletcher and Valentin and Ricci and Ramaska and all these other guys. At 8,700 against James Lontop, I don't think this fight hits the scorecards.
Do you remember Lontop? Blender, did you play that?
It was like a -7 million favorite or something lost, right?
Yes, and it was like not even like he got like taken down and smashed. You know what I mean? Like not even competitive. Very, very ugly. I was hoping people wouldn't want to play him for that reason, but it's also like, remember when Slava Claus was taken down and just controlled by Mark D1 Diakese?
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think that's going to happen this fight.
Top striker want to go that route? I would love him to.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Slava Claus guy. I don't like Vyacheslav Borshchak, and people don't know who he is.
Yes,
I don't think Lontop is very good. And
he can crack.
Yeah, but the problem is the ownership. It's just that you're struggling to find underdogs in this lower price range. So I'm not a big fan of playing like Dennis Bazookia, right? On the slate against Francis Marshall. I think Francis Marshall probably wins and puts up a low score. and Bezukia has like 42 points, which is okay. I don't think if Bezukia wins, he wins with a good score anyway. So, like, Lontop has a better ceiling. Just if you don't play Bezukia and you don't play like what are other people doing? I think Lontop ends up coming in at like 20. I think Bezukia comes in at like 34, 36% owned. Lontop comes in at 28 to 32% owned. And because of that, the Slavoclaus may only be like 25% owned.
There's
And
going
he
to be
has
an odd person out, and it seems to be pointing that way.
And more people are going to play Caio Borralho. More people are going to play Shabazian, who's 300 more expensive because there's no fighters in that range. I think Borshev actually has a chance of going quite under-owned because people are either going to go up to research Shabazian or go down to Borralho, and too many people are going to play Lontop. So I think from a leverage and a pricing perspective, if Slavoclaus gets a first-round finish, he could score just as much as Shabazian or Reese. And he's way cheaper. Could score more than Wang Kong, and he's way cheaper.
Wang Kong is the interesting one, right? Because it's like she's got a quick win bonus potential. She's got like a deep. If she gets like a 4 minutes and 50 seconds finish in the first round, it might be like your 135 points. Like there could be multiple knockdowns. But
I don't see her getting a quick win bonus, Mike.
No, me. I mean,
Leonardo, I just think it's
do this for a minute.
Yes, I think this fight ends. I think this fight ends with the referee feeling bad for Leonardo. Like it's going to be one of those fights where
that's a good thing. We want that.
She's covering up on the fence and taking, hit, not on top or anything. Just like okay, you're kind of defending yourself, but you've taken like 80 headshots, and kind of like what happened with that Sean O'Malley, whatever the hell fight against
the Boston kid from my area. I can see him. Chris Motino.
Yeah, Motino, right. And he scored 1 million points because just zombie, just like, and the fight was just never, it's like at some point you got to stop the fight. He's taking like 120 headshots. I feel like that's more likely what this looks like, but that could score extremely well if the referee doesn't stop the fight.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I almost don't want it to stop.
I was asking earlier about SimLabs. Did you know that the expert DFS lineup generation tool from RotoGrinders and Fantasy Labs, known as SimLabs, just got even better? In addition to the desktop tool for the web, you can now download the SimLabs mobile app from your app store today and use the power of DFS simulations in the palm of your hand, available to combo and single sport subs, or you can buy a la carte in the app store. Check it out today. That's what I was referring to earlier with the ownerships. Good stuff. And optimal rates are super important. Let me tell you about a fight that will not hit the optimal rate. Josiana Nunez fits my mold. What's my favorite thing outside of pitter patter? I think pitter patter is number one, and then there's a big gap, right, Blender? It's underdogs with better or the same inside the distance lines as their favorite. Nunez has the same inside the distance line as Cavalcante, but let's be honest, this is the most likely fight to go to a decision, most likely to be like kickboxing for 3 rounds. I do think Cavalcante might go for takedowns.
Doesn't kickbox. Josiana Nunez is like this tall and throws looping.
She throws these
right hand, and if you don't, she doesn't catch someone with that like monkey, like it's like she looks like a little troll that just throws this thing like just above her, like no technicality, no nothing. Against the garbage part of the division, maybe I guess I think she got one knockout or something. I don't consider Cavalcante to be very good either, but
shouldn't she go for you just can't stop takedowns? That's my thing. It's like, dude, if she's got a brain, just control her. I mean, do you remember the fight? What was it? Nunez and the big girl that doesn't make weight at all ever and was on the last card.
No.
Chelsea Chandler. You're not talking about a Chelsea Chandler who could hold her down for extended periods of time, right? Cavalcante isn't going to do that, but it would be a path to scoring if she were to go that route.
I don't think she needs to. I mean, Nunez can't get back up to her feet if she's getting taken down, but You're not making the case for playing either of these two. I mean,
I know.
For 7,700, Nunez is still a plus 205 underdog. I mean, Cavalcanti is minus 240 to win now. Good luck. Have fun. Have fun taking this fight. I'd much rather take Cavalcanti as a really. He may end up being 14.
That's what I was trying to talk us into.
8,500 if you want. The problem is that she'll have to put up so many strikes in a decision or get a weird knockout early or something. I just you have Slava Claus, Borralho, Santos, Fletcher, Valentin. I expect
there's way better commodities
between Slava Claus, Santos, Fletcher, and Valentin. I'm expecting at minimum 2 finishes, at minimum, if not 3, if not all 4. Good luck playing Cavalcanti and fading, and the chances of all of those fights that I just mentioned just going to scorecards.
It's funny because
I don't think it happens.
Another slate, people would actually be drawn to Nunez. I guarantee that. If this was more of a non-all action, like you said, a bunch of finishes and it was a bunch of decisions with decent, accurate money lines, people would want to play Nunez. No, I agree. I would be more opt to play Cavalcanti, but she's just competing with too much around there. We do have NFL season coming up, so make sure you guys check out and get ahead of the competition with RotoGrinders Premium. We've got an option for whatever level you're looking for. Get yourself a 6-month combo subscription at an exclusive price of $469.99. That's a savings of $250 instead of buying 6 individual months of combo premium. If you're not a fan of that commitment, you can get a month of RotoGrinders combo premium for $120. I'm going to get this one right, okay? I'm going to take my time. Here's the end of this that I always mess up. Those that want a test run before dipping, damn it, I messed it up again. Those that want a test run before buying can dip their toes into the water with our 3-day combo pass of $19.99. Check out the links in the description for more information. I'll get there someday, Jordan. I mean, that ad read is...
Tell people about it. You don't have to read it word for word.
I know, but it's a word salad, and I want to get it right.
Okay.
Anywho, I think we've pretty much nailed this card as much as we can. We've kind of drilled through. I think over-owned wise, Ricci's going to be so owned. The smaller the field, the higher the dollar, she's going to be a first click. That's one play that I think is just going to be oof. And then you know what's going to happen? She's going to sub her in 4 minutes.
It could happen. She has theoretical upside. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. I mean, her path to victory, her path is wrestling, and if she could get Angela Hill down for 3 rounds, I mean, I guess that's possible. It's just she hasn't proved. She really has not proven it at this level of competition.
You know why she's getting the push, right?
Why?
Her boyfriend is Callum Walsh, Mr. Investment for Dana White, his boxing investment. So a lot of split decisions have gone our way as well. I mean, it's 10-2 for Ricci. It's split.
What was the card last week where there was a 30-27 that made absolutely no
sense? God, I don't know, but I had Tuivasa plus 3.5, and I should never have won that bet. I feel terrible.
No, it was the Tuivasa fight where he got 30-27 on a card where at best it was 29-28 the other way. At best, they didn't win a single round.
They tossed the guy. They said, "You know what? You did this scorecard. Good for the commission saying get out of here. You're done." Thank God we're having
supposed to be part of the Kara France and Heuristic fight, I believe. Judging that, the Rosenstruck Tuivasa fight. I watched that fight. It's okay, Rosenstruck 30-27. Then when I heard the 30-27, it's tied Tuivasa. What fight was everyone else watching?
Yeah, that one was wild. But Kirk was in chat busting our balls about Kara France. Holy Nikes! He came out like he was owed lunch money.
Yeah, I did well last night. I didn't win first place, but I mean, I played 10 lineups and I cashed all of them. So, pretty good day for me. Even though we got a slate today and we don't got anything next week, and we'll be back after Labor Day.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Even better than just min caching is at least having a week off to kind of reset and see where we're at. Also, football will be back. It's going to be a lot of different things. And also, we're gearing up towards that Noche. Please, let's have a showdown. We need to start like a riot. I don't want to have 10 fights on a regular. You said you did. What do you want for that card?
I'm fine with it. It's just less lineups and more contrarian. That's it.
Okay. All right. We'll be here anyways for that in 2 weeks. Thank you to producer TJ for another great show. Again, we have a week off, plenty of time to get into the lobby for today's slate. Make sure you check out Liam's articles. The lineup HQ is up. Plenty of information to digest. Thank you again to TJ, Blender, myself. We are out of here.